Hi everybody, we're just about ready to get the show underway. I'm a little late. I'm at my blog talk studio control room here, signing in, waiting for the host.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hang on. Hi everybody! Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Daniel Gray. I am the Trailer Park Prophet, broadcasting live from beautiful, lovely, warm downtown Crestone, Colorado. This is Sunday on Monday, and we are going to talk a lot about what's going on, not only in politics, economics, society. I better get my hat. I'm having a bad hair day. Alright, I'm back. Let's see, I think I have a hot mic on my Logitech camera, microphone. Did you have a nice weekend? I went to the hot springs yesterday. I had a good time. They have a new laundry facility, so I was able to do my laundry and then hang it up. I actually had some rope and I hung up my laundry and let it dry while I was in this beautiful hot springs called Hooper Pool. More on that a little bit later. Saturday I didn't do much. Went for a walk with Bailey Barker out in the forest, out in the Pinyon Forest. And I always enjoy that. We've been taking her little friend Lily with us. And it makes it fun for me and Lily, and Bailey really loves Lily. They're good friends. Always nice to go for a walk in the Pinyon Forest. Alright, I'm trying to think about things to talk about. I gotta assume you're pretty much up on the news, so you pretty much know what's going on nationally, and you know what's going on internationally. I mean, sometimes I know I jump right into the international stories, and you may already be up to speed on them. Some of you not so much. One thing you have to do as a radio announcer or a person like myself who is a radio commentator is think about who your audience is and address your comments and stories to the audience that you're trying to serve. Now, I figure most of you are, well, I know most of you download the Trailer Park Prophet Show and listen to the show at another time, at your convenience. And I imagine that the old prophet is next to you or in your space when you're driving your petroleum combustion unit. And so I try and envision all of you sitting in your cars, your trucks, your petroleum combustion units, driving your way back and forth from work, or maybe you drive for a living, or maybe you have to do a lot of errands in your work, like maybe you have to go to the courthouse all the time. Who knows? So what I try to do here at the Trailer Park Prophet Show is imagine what the hell you're doing and trying to get a handle on what your day looks like. Are you married? Do you have children? Were you married? Did you have children? Do you have a job? Who are you? Alright, moving on. I want to do this first story. I might as well just start at the top and work my way down. I thought this was kind of interesting. I heard this on the local KOA radio 85 from Denver. They used to be called, or they actually used to call themselves the Blowtorch of the Rockies. KOA 85 Radio AM. Well, now they're just a mere shell of themselves because the old radio station business has been consolidating because there's no money in radio. People don't listen to radio. They just don't. Less and less people do, I guess. I'd like to know what the numbers are for NPR. I wonder what their listenership is like on the radio. Alright, anyways, this story I saw, or I picked up off of KOA Denver, and evidently in the ski areas, marijuana in the ski lifts is a problem. A lot of these ski areas, they have gondolas, or they even have hoods. At any rate, people are smoking pot like crazy on the ski lift. Of course, they've been smoking pot on ski lifts since the 60s. At any rate, it stinks up the lift or the gondola. And some people don't like that smell, just like some people don't like the smell from cigarettes, cigars, pipes, farts. And now it's an issue for the ski areas, for the legislature, whether or not to disallow smoking pot on ski lifts. Now, the ski operators, the ski lift operators, they're putting signs up, no smoking pot on ski lifts or gondolas, and trying to deal with it that way. And already it's an issue whether or not you have a right to smoke pot in restaurants, in the park, on the street. And what's interesting is we're learning about the manifestation of the views and machinations of allowing for free marijuana smoking, making it free or making it legal to smoke pot in public. Or do you have that right to smoke it in public? I mean, if you have a medical marijuana prescription in Colorado to legally smoke pot because of some medical condition, how can the government tell you that you can't take your medicine on a street corner or in a public park or in a parking lot or in your own damn car? So, interestingly enough, we're going to see the creation of a lot of various discussions around marijuana use. All right, let's see. Oh, there's a law before the Colorado State Senate, the Colorado legislature, that if signed by the governor of Colorado, would require Colorado students to be immunized. And I try not to follow this story too much because I know people out there have a lot of strong feelings about whether or not it should be an individual's right to have their kids and themselves and other family members immunized, and whether or not there's some sort of overreach by the government to tell the parents that are required to send their kids to school. Going to school is called compulsory in the law, which means you have to go to school. You have to do this. Compulsory law. I should look that up. We ought to do a show on compulsory law. What other compulsory laws do we have? Obamacare. We have to pay into Obamacare. That's compulsory. Or we could lose our house or our land. You have our wages garnished. Compulsory. So a student has to go to school, and now under Colorado law they have to be immunized. But I thought these issues were already taken care of years ago. I thought they already decided years and years and years ago that if you go to public school you have to be immunized. I don't know. You know, there's so many battles over this issue going on all over America. I don't think there's like any template law in any state. I don't think there's any similarities in immunization laws across the state. I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should the federal government step in and say every man, woman, and child has to be immunized? And couldn't they say, well, look, we have Obamacare, we're responsible for your health care, we're responsible for everybody's health care, and we here at the government plantation headquarters have decided that in order to keep costs down on Obamacare, everyone must compulsory be immunized. Why couldn't the government bureaucrats say that? They could. Quite likely will. You're going to see a lot of edicts, healthcare edicts, coming down from the board that's in charge of Obamacare, which, by the way, that's an unelected board appointed by political actors. All right, the dogs are back barking. I thought I had this dog thing worked out, or had taken care of itself, but obviously I don't. I guess I can shut my window. This is a real problem in the trailer park prophet's life. These barking dogs bother me. And, you know, those dogs, they have their testicles, so they're aggressive. And there's two males, so they feed off of each other's energy. Like one dog will start barking, and then the other one always chimes in. They're very copycat-like. And they don't like me because I'm here, I guess, and the guy before me, he, I believe, was tormenting the dogs. So now they're forever ruined behavioral. Their behavior is forever ruined. But we'll try to get through this as best we can. Let's see here. Oh, I saw something yesterday at the hot springs that really meant a lot to me. I was in a way background music. Alright, you know what? Maybe I should try and throw them some dog food, and maybe they'll calm down for a little bit, and then I can calm down, because when I hear this dog noise, barking, incessant dog barking, it kind of makes me upset. So look, you're listening to the Trailer Park Prophet. We're going to take a little break, and I'm going to leave you with some beautiful background music. My fellow lovers of liberty, I am back. Fed the dogs some dog food. Boy, this really is citizen journalism, isn't it? So, before I was interrupted, I was telling you something that I saw yesterday that I observed at the Hooper Pool, aka Sand Dunes swimming pool, which is heated by geothermal water that comes up from the ground, and it's just beautiful. No chlorine. And the people that run it, I've known them for over 20 years, and they're the most beautiful people in the world. Okay, what do I got here? Warning, unresponsible script. So, do I continue or do I stop the script? I don't know what to do. Alright, let me go back to the studio, make sure everything looks copacetic. If you want to call in, you can do so. Just dial 646-716-8506. Again, that number 646. That's the area code. 716-8506. Trailer Park Prophet here. Yesterday I was at the Great Sand Dunes recreational pool. I can't remember exactly what the name of the place is, but I've been going there now for over 20 years, and they've continued improving the facility over the years, and now they're going to add a whole new adult pool section for adults only, and they're going to have adult beverages, you know, behavioral modification liquid for adults, and no kids. Which, I love the kids, personally. They don't bother me at all. Having never been married, no kids, not gay, I like being around kids once in a while. I like the joy, I like the noises, they're interesting to look at. I don't want a kid because I'm selfish, shallow, and emotionally unavailable. But still, I love kids. So anyway, I'm at this beautiful facility, and they had just added a brand new shower house and laundry room, so I was able to go do my laundry before I went into the hot pools, and so I'm there doing my laundry. Bailey's running around the property, and this car pulls up, and the driver is a nice looking Hispanic man, and the mother is a nice looking white woman, and they have a beautiful 9, 10, 11-year-old black boy. And it almost brought a tear to my eye because I was looking at the face of real diversity right in the San Luis Valley. And it was such a beautiful thing. I'm starting to tear up right now. How these three people were getting along in life. And they didn't have to play the race card. They didn't have to play to illusions or stereotypes. This was a legitimate, as they say today, blended family. It was a family. And I wanted to ask them. I wanted to know more about this family. And I was able to stifle myself because I thought, you know, it's a real honor just to be in this moment and observe this family. And if I'm to celebrate the diversity of this family, I have to act as if they are purely normal, which they are. But they're not normal within the racial paradigm of Obama's America. In fact, liberals and liberal blacks get really angry. I mean, they got angry at Mitt Romney because someone in Mitt Romney's family adopted a black baby. There were a lot of liberals, a lot of liberal blacks that thought that was wholly inappropriate. I mean, we could get in deeper into that, but my God, where does that kind of thinking come from? That's messed up. But I just thoroughly enjoyed seeing this family. It really did make me feel good. It gave me hope. And I was able to, I did talk to the father, the Latino, and And I was really casual. I asked him if he was just passing through, and he told me that they lived in Colorado Springs, and they were just out for a little short vacay, a little time off on the weekend. But he mentioned that there was other kids that went on a special vacation down to New Mexico. I think they said there was 2 or 3 other kids. And of course, all I could think about is, what color are they? What color are they? I just wanted to know so bad, but I wanted to know for myself. And I was lucky I didn't say that, and I just, like I said, I just tried to be as normal as possible, and I'm sure it was obvious I was wagging my internal tail because it was such a beautiful sight to see that. Hispanic father, white mother, and a little black boy. It was a thing of beauty. And I tried not to pay, well, I didn't pay any attention to the young boy. I thought, I don't want him thinking I'm looking at him or whatever. But what few glimpses I did get of the young man, it was just of a confident, calm young man. That was my take on him. So, at any rate, I have one more story I want to tell you about my hot springs yesterday. And if I don't forget, I'll bring it up later on in the program. Hopefully I will forget. That's all I could think about last night. I had a bad night last night sleeping, and I was asking myself over and over again if I was going to tell you about my bad experience at the hot springs. It's sort of like a yin-yang. I got to see the blended family, which was goodness and wonderful and inspiring, and then I had this other thing happen with another completely different kind of human. I should just get it over with. I'm going to try to forget that story. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Oh, okay. Let's get started here. This story here comes from Kane TV, Herman Cain, one of our favorites here at the Trailer Park Prophet Show. And we talked about this congressman a few times. He is a congressman from Minnesota, Democrat Representative Keith Ellison. And Keith Ellison, Congressman Ellison, is also the first Muslim Congress member ever. First Muslim elected to Congress is Keith Ellison from Minnesota. And he recently, I guess on the 24th, oh no, this article is published on the 24th by a guy named Robert Laurie. And I think we have a video. Let's just go ahead and listen to this video, and I think you can decide for yourself what you think. Basically, what's going on here is Keith Ellison says that he wishes his party would come out against the Second Amendment. So let's give this a listen. Again, Congressman Keith Ellison, first Muslim elected to Congress. Alright, maybe that's not going to play.
Every day we're working to be an even better company and to keep our commitments. And we've made a big commitment to...
Oh, darn. Alright, let's see here. I did something wrong.
America.
Here we go.
BP supports nearly 250,000 jobs here through all of our energy operations.
Huh. I may not have the capacity to do this right now. I don't want to kill the music.
We invest more in the U.S. than
Alright,
any
here we
other
go.
place in the world. In fact, we've invested over $55 billion here in the last...
Maybe I gotta kill the music. Alright.
...last 5 years. Making BP
We'll give it one more
America's
shot
largest
here.
energy investor. Our commitment has never been stronger.
I don't mind listening to a BP petroleum commercial as long as we get this little bit of news.
Well, let me offer another.
Here we go,
reason
Keith
why the
Ellison.
Democrats might not do well. I think it's the same one that I've identified before. They're not different enough from the Republican Party, and if people have the choice between a Republican and Republican light, they're probably going to go for the real thing. I offer case.
Okay, the interviewer is Bill Maher. So Congressman Ellison is on the Bill Maher show. So this is recently, and we'll go. Here we go.
This guy, Vivek Murphy, he's a doctor. Obama put him up to be Surgeon General. Now, the NRA says he is against freedom. Why? Because as a doctor, he said bullets are bad for you. I swear to God. He said gun violence is a public health issue, which I would file under the category of not controversial. Ask your doctor if bullet wounds are right for you. You know. And yet, but here's the thing: he cannot. He only has to be confirmed by the Senate, where the Democrats control. They have 55 seats, but this is not even going to come up for a vote because, once again, the Democrats not that different than the Republicans. There's not enough of them to support a doctor who says gun violence is a public health issue.
Yeah, it's un-American to do that. You know, did you see? You saw the picture of Mitch McConnell carrying a gun.
Show it. We have it.
Yeah. And now, what? You know, how can we show the Statue of Liberty?
You know, I got to stop here because the rough numbers on deaths from gun violence, I believe, is around 5,000 a year. Now, at what point does a particular category of death become a public health problem? Compared to somewhere between 35 and 50,000 people die because of automobile accidents. And then you have everything in between. As an example, how many policemen die, or no, I don't think that number is very high, but the most dangerous job in the U.S. is a roofer. But at any rate, you need to keep in mind as we listen to Bill Maher and Congressman Ellis about how many people a year actually die because of gun violence. And of that 5,000 people, or some years I think it has gotten up to 6,500 gunshot wounds. A lot of times those are a homeowner defending their property, standing their ground, or as a lot of people call those laws, the castle law. You have a right to defend your castle. Now, I may be a little off on the numbers, but you need to think about this discussion in future gun control discussions in this light, remembering how many actual gunshot deaths there are a year and how many of those are of people protecting their castle from bad guys. I mean, do we really care about the bad guys that were killed trying to invade people's homes? The answer should be no. All right, back to Bill Maher and Congressman from Minnesota. All right, take it away, guys.
You know, something happened there, actually. The torch has been replaced by a gun, actually. It's easier to represent.
But isn't that sad that you don't even have to talk? They don't have to make words. It's just me, gun, good.
Yeah. Actually, that's how the Indians do it in old-fashioned westerns, isn't it?
Right.
Wow.
It's not even a job that has anything to do with gun control. I mean, at the worst he would do would be speak out against gun violence. It is a health issue.
Sheila
And
Barr.
it's something he has no control over the issue, yet just because he has an opinion, you know, he's being opposed. And it only takes 51 votes now to confirm anybody in the Senate, and they can't even apparently get 51 votes.
They cannot.
You know, the public has got to demand that this comes up for a vote. I believe that if
This
Americans
Congressman
all over this country
Ellison
say to the Senate leadership, we need a vote on this, we insist on it. 89% of people said we want background checks. Still didn't get through the Senate. And I think that we have got to just have some real citizen grassroots activism to demand this because it's the right thing to do. But that takes hard work. You know, organizing is not easy, but it must be done to save this country.
All right, I got to interrupt the congressman. Here's something you need to know. I always have to straighten out some of my buddies on Facebook, and that is there already are background checks in place in every damn state across the union. This is another one of those disinformation nuggets that is produced by the progressive socialist statist propaganda machine. You have to get a background check to get a gun in every single state in the union. They are so lying about this. All right, lying Ellison, Congressman.
This is the peculiarity of the...
Well, let's go back and listen to all of that.
Citizen grassroots activism to demand this because it's the right thing to do. But that takes hard work. You know, organizing is not easy, but it must be done to save this country.
Yeah, Keith, this
To
is the
save the country, we need gun control.
peculiarity of the constitutional system, because if we actually suddenly said, well, let's take a national plebiscite, whether or not there should be a vote on this, right, there'll be a majority, but that's not the way it works. You have to have 89% of people in Kentucky or something, actually.
No, you
or in Louisiana, actually wanting to have a vote about guns. Good luck to that.
Well, you know, it's a funny thing you should say about that, because
No,
my
that's
family
not
roots are
necessarily
from Louisiana.
right.
My mother's from Natchitoches, Louisiana. When I was a kid, we used to go to Cane River, Louisiana, and my uncle would have the guns on the rack. But if you ask my uncle, should you have a 30-round clip to go with those? He'd say, of course not. This is stupid. He'd say, should you have a back?
Yeah, but who gives a rat's ass about what your uncle thinks about anything, Congressman? That kind of logic is so immature, to go from the specific, his grandpa or uncle, whoever the hell he was talking about, to the general. That's illogical. Not to mention, you know, using anecdotal examples, personal examples, for a reason to change our national constitution. Like somehow Congressman Ellison and his grandpa and his uncle are smarter than the founding fathers. Basically, that's what he's saying to you. Basically, that's the logic pattern that this man is trying to infuse into your organic computer. Uh-oh. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Okay, let's get back to this interview with Bill Maher.
Background check to have all these guns. To say, yeah, I don't have a problem with the background check. The Republicans have convinced too many people that having any common sense regulations means that they're going to take your freedom away.
Any. See, I'm going to interrupt here too, Congressman. Anytime somebody says any or all or makes a reference that something is the example of all encompassing, you know they're exaggerating to make their point. It's illogical. You can't have 100% or 95% of anything. That's why it was so laughable when I heard the vote count in Crimea, whether or not they wanted to join the Soviet Union, was 95% of the citizens, or 95% of the Crimean legislature wanted to go to Russia. Or no, I thought there was a general election. At any rate, back to Bill Maher and Congressman Ellison and the Second Amendment. Continue. All right, where did this go?
Republicans. The problem is the Democrats love guns too. Now, when Mitch McConnell did that and held the gun up, here's what his opponent, the Democrat, tweeted. She said, "Someone tell Team Mitch that's not the way to hold a gun." Kentucky, there she is. Kentucky women do it better. See, that's the problem, is the Democrats are just as bad.
I don't think that's a... problem. That's not
really
no
problem with me.
Well, hey,
fine,
I'm a Republican. I'm for gun control. I just want to be.
I'm for gun
it's
control
not monolithic.
Let me just say, I'm for gun control, but I don't think you have got to eliminate ownership of all guns in order to get some common sense gun rules. I mean, 27 children were mowed down. Isn't that enough for us? One of our own colleagues, Gabby Gibbons.
Then why doesn't your party come out against the Second Amendment?
Bill, I sure wish they would. I sure wish they
Really?
would.
Because I never hear anybody in the Democratic Party say that.
No,
they
you
say,
know,
I am also a strong supporter.
You've got to check out the Progressive Caucus. We have come out very strong for...
Alright. God, I'm just dying on the vine here today.
Common sense gun safety rules.
Common sense gun safety is bullshit.
It's not.
What that means...
No, it isn't.
No, it is.
No.
It means that there are 3,000 types of guns available in the U.S., and you want to ban about 200 of them.
No, what it means is that if you want to have Grandpa's shotgun, have it, but get rid of them crazy military-style assault weapons. Start with
not going
no,
to
that's what
change
it means.
anything.
It's certainly, well, you know
Most
what? You
mass
can't
shootings
solve a
are-
problem. You can't solve a problem with just one little thing. You've got to make sure the CDC can issue reports on gun killings and handgun violence. You've got to make sure that we get rid of assault weapons. You've got to close the loophole at gun shows. You've got to do a whole range of things to get us into a sane place. We got 12,000 handgun murders a year. I mean, it's got to stop.
Well, but the trouble is that
I need to check that number.
As very often is the case, is completely irrational. Wayne LaPierre says, actually, that in a time of lies and corruption, it is important that people have guns, revolvers, and so on. Excuse me? So if someone tells a lie, you don't contradict them, you shoot them. Just like you kind of shoot somebody for texting in a movie or playing a radio too loud. You know, these sorts of things happen, and people actually argue with each other in other countries. We don't argue, we actually pull the trigger.
But those are the nuts, and we understand where the nuts are coming. My point is that there are people like this opponent that he has who's trying to compete with him about how much she loves guns.
But the reason that happens...
Alright, you know, this debate on gun control, gun rights, is going to go on forever. And I decided, you know what, I'm not going to spend any more time on it today. Hey, if you want to call in, I'm sorry, I've been missing people. They call in and I don't see their number. But if you want to take a chance, you can call the Trailer Park Prophet at 646-716-8506. Again, if you would like to talk to the Trailer Park Prophet, 646-716-8506. Alright, here, story from townhall.com. Oh, by the way, did you hear the Malaysia airliner, Flight 390? It was a 777 Boeing. The Malaysian government came out with an official statement today that they found the wreckage, that the plane did crash in the Indian Ocean. No survivors. Evidently, they found some debris. The families were notified first. And we'll see what happens. But either, my feeling right now is either it was a malfunction or someone tried to take over the plane, maybe one of the pilots, and there was a struggle and the plane went into the water. Or there was just a huge malfunction on the plane. And what's another scenario that would be believable? But it couldn't have necessarily been terrorist, because no one's taking credit for the downing of that 777 Boeing airliner from Malaysia. All right. But the real news is how much attention that the media, particularly CNN, has paid to the Malaysian airliner. And we'll have to watch and see if Rush Limbaugh's prediction is accurate. Rush Limbaugh was saying that no matter what the official accounting is that we just heard from the president of Malaysia, whatever the official accounting is, that members in the lamestream media won't accept that explanation because they want to keep this story alive, because it helps them from having to report on the real news out there, like how the economy sucks, Obamacare is an abomination, we're at war with Russia, or the USR is reconstituting. And you know what? I think I may have heard or read a story over the weekend about China actually did invade those islands that are their ownership is in dispute with Japan, but hopefully I had a dream of that. You gotta excuse me today, I'm a little A little tired, like I said, I didn't sleep well. Now this next article is from townhall.com, great website. Article here written by Lee Barlucas, and Lee writes, the problem of illegal immigration in America is only getting worse as the years go by, and as those on both sides of the aisle pitch their solutions, it's become all too clear that too often they aren't addressing one of the root causes of the problem to begin with. It's true our borders are not secure at all, despite what Obama administration would like you to believe. But why the mad dash to enter the states? Simply put, there are jobs to be had, even though we're a nation struggling with high unemployment. And let me add here, in my opinion, my humble opinion, the trailer park prophet thinks that if you hire illegal aliens, you are unpatriotic. It is unpatriotic, in my viewpoint, to hire illegal aliens. And I think it should be in acceptable manners to ask a proprietor, say of a restaurant or a landscaping company, whether or not they're hiring illegals. In fact, I want to see it on the goddamn menu. I want to see a law that says if you hire illegals, it has to be posted on the menu. So I, as a discriminating consumer, can decide not to support businesses that hire illegal aliens. But, of course, that would be deemed racist. Alright, in a recent op-ed from the editorial staff at Bloomberg View, making this point puts the problem in perspective in a very eye-opening way. Get a load of this. As many as 8 million undocumented immigrants hold jobs in the U.S. In fact, they account for more than 5% of the U.S. labor force. Their unemployment rate might even be lower than that of the nation's black citizens. Now let's see, what's 5% of 100 million? Let's see, how many people, we talk about the participation rate in the U.S. That's the people that are actually working, that are of age and physically and mentally capable. The workforce in the U.S. is what, 150 million people? Alright, I don't have that number on my mind. But we've reported on this show that, now one number I do know is that we have 90 million people that aren't working. And that 90 million people is what I was referring to, the people, the participation rate. So if 90 million people aren't working, what number of people are actually working? Well, it might be like 200 million? I don't know. I mean, these are interesting questions to bring up. But it goes on to say, in a stereotype society, the undocumented are hardly relegated to agriculture and domestic service. No metabolical waste, Sherlock. That's always the stereotype, that the illegal aliens are taking jobs that us white gringos won't take. But no, that's not the case. They're working in construction, manufacturing, and retail are among their biggest employers. According to the Immigration Policy Institute, so either quite a few of the nation's 6 million employers have welcomed undocumented workers into their factories and stores, or a smaller number of employees have hired an awful lot of them. And those are jobs that could go to blacks and Latinos that are here legally, and our teenagers and our college students during the summer. That's what happens to a lot of jobs, that the marginal people or the new people to the workforce, the jobs that a lot of times that they take. But it's not only those jobs either. A lot of these guys are running their own companies in the U.S., their own concrete companies, their own landscaping companies. See, even this writer doesn't get the full picture. And I'm going to say this again. They always say that there's 10, 12 million illegal aliens in the country. If they, the government, say 10 or 12, you can generally times it by 3. So my hunch is there's 30 million illegal aliens in this country. That makes more sense considering 90 million people in the workforce aren't working. Either way, little is being done to stop the practice. Workplace enforcement is minimal, fines are small. Amid all the political bellowing about the border, no one in Washington pays much attention to employers' practices. Exactly. That's why we consumers, we have to step in locally and start pointing the finger at the employees that are hiring illegal aliens. Talk about how all politics is local. This is a perfect example. Yet with 95,000 miles of shoreline, 50 commercial airports, and a northern border that's twice as long as its southern one, the U.S. could transform its southwest into North Korea and still not stem the flow of undocumented immigrants seeking work, many of whom simply overstayed their legitimate visas. And it goes on to say that E-Verify can still be gamed. One independent study found that during a 3-month period in 2008, about half the unauthorized workers whose background checks it checked were nonetheless approved for work. Now, the E-Verify is supposed to be a system whereby an employer can find out whether or not you're a citizen or not. I mean, come to think of it, why do they need E-Verify? Seems like they ought to be able to go to the Social Security data bank or any other data bank out there that would prove that you're a citizen. You know, this whole E-Verify is a smokescreen. But the Department of Homeland Security has been upgrading the system so that it can assess additional databases and more carefully filter applications. All right, well, let's see. As the system improves, of course, the demand for high-quality identity fraud stands to increase. The commensurate, I don't even know what that word means. All right, that's enough of that story. And right, it goes on to say, it finishes with this. It says, if Congress is not serious about turning off the flow of undocumented immigrants, it will have to give Department of Homeland Security the resources it needs for workplace enforcement, including on-site inspections. But that's not going to happen. And that's why I'm so pissed off at the Republicans. They're not doing anything, or they didn't do anything during the time they had control of both the House and the Senate and the White House under George W. They didn't do anything to implement what was promised to the American people during Reagan, which was a fence on the southern border. That's where most of these illegal aliens come from, and that's where terrorism is being imported through, our poor southern border. Alright, let's see what time we got. 1:49 here at the Trailer Park Profit Show. So, Michelle Obama is getting a lot of press. If you don't know, the First Lady and the 2 girls and the grandmother are in China right now on a cultural visit. But I'm telling you, it's been a calamity of errors. I mean, from the dress of the Obama girls, what they're wearing, to, you know, the kickoff that Michelle Obama didn't want any of the American press to attend her family's visit to China. And then all over the press, well, all over the internet, of course, the press, the lamestream media isn't going to mention anything about Michelle Obama not allowing the press to report or travel with the First Lady. But Michelle Obama gave a speech criticizing the Chinese government about the repression and freedom of press in China. So the hypocrisy by Michelle Obama is just stunning. I mean, she forbids our press, the United States of America press, to travel with her to China, and then she gets to China and chides, criticizes, ridicules China about their freedom of press policy. And I'm sure people all across the world are scratching their heads. And most people in America probably have no idea that our First Lady is involved with such hypocrisy. And it says here, this story here by Paul Bedard. And where did I say this story was from? Oh yeah, Town Hall. Alright. I can't get my computer to... It's frozen up there, my fellow lovers of liberty. Control 5. Control 5, Skipper. Alright, I'm back to the studio. Alright, well, since I'm here at the studio, I don't have any callers. If you want to call in, that would be like turbo groovy. And now my studio page from Blog Talk Radio is down, but I can see by the icon in my lower right-hand corner from broadcast or broadcast radio that I'm still broadcasting. So we have technical difficulties, but we're going to move on. Okay, here we go. Back. Oh, this is from the Washington Examiner. I misspoke. This article is not from Town Hall. Written by Paul Bedard, and he's covering Michelle Obama as best he can, covering Michelle Obama, her mother, and their lovely granddaughters, Malia and Sasha, who I reported on Friday were wearing very short skirts around China, which I can't understand how Michelle Obama can't understand that it's important that she present America's first family and that they have some class and modesty. But then, you know, I'm looking at this story that we're going to talk a little bit more about, where Michelle Obama was chiding the Chinese about their press policy when she wouldn't allow the press on her plane. You know, for me, what that demonstrates clearly is that Michelle Obama is not a very sophisticated person. I'm not saying that she's not smart. I'm not saying anything other than the way she is in public demonstrates, I think, to the world that this woman is not a serious woman. And I think they see the same thing in Barack Obama. I mean, it looks like Michelle Obama is what they call a beard. She is nothing more than a figurehead, a figure wife. I just have that opinion or feeling about Michelle Obama. And there's a picture of Michelle Obama yesterday was in front of a group of Chinese kids, and she had on a pair of tight spandex, and she was exercising on this stage in front of these kids, and she was doing squats, and it was obvious that our First Lady has some real thunder thighs. And they look like total garbage bags filled with cottage cheese. It looked horrible. And then she's like shooting a beaver. You know, her legs are spread and she's down on her haunches. And I mean, she looked like she was a stripper in front of these kids. And that was the picture that has been seen all over America. But here, this story here from the Washington Examiner is saying that yesterday that the press that was covering Michelle Obama was shoved, screamed at, and blocked from events. So let's see if we can get this video to play. Here, let me stop the beautiful background music. I wish you could see the picture. It's actually rather relaxing. Alright, back to... No, here it is right here. Michelle Obama. Oh man, maybe I did. Alright, here we go. Today in China. Oh my God, this story from Paul Bedard is from today. Alright, let's listen to this video. This is probably Paul Bedard reporting live from China. Well, I guess he's not live, but he's alive in the internet anyway. Oh, we got a little baby ad. This is so cool. Deposit a check on your smartphone. Now that is a smartphone.
First Lady Michelle Obama's trip to China has some glowing news reports. This is because her press corps has had to fight with Chinese officials in order to cover the event they had trip. Reporters claim they have been blocked from events, screamed at by officials, and even held back with barriers. A New York Times pool report about the first family's visit to the Chinese city of Xi'an reads that the whole visit was barred for press by obnoxious Chinese advancement screaming and shoving us behind its ever-moving red tape line. According to accounts, the extreme media control is motivated by Chinese officials trying to avoid embarrassing photos. For instance, while the first family was visiting the Great Wall, reporters were forced to the top of Tower 15 and take shots of them as they approached from Tower 14. Apache's Beijing bureau chief wrote that had photographers been able to shoot from Tower 14 as the family walked north, the photographs would have captured them walking the wall with a massive rock inscription on the hillside above them to the north, which read in Chinese characters, "Loyal to Chairman Mao."
Oh my God. Oh my God, you should see this picture of Michelle Obama. She's in China and she's holding up these two sticks, you know, that have like red ribbons on each end of them. And she has her mouth open like she's going, ah! Oh God, it's so ugly. Oh, you gotta see it. If you want to see this video, I know you already know this, but you can go to my Facebook page and check it out. The headline is "Press Covering Michelle Obama Shoved, Screamed at, Blocked from Events in China." But it shows this video of the First Lady, and she has these streamers, these red streamers. And red, of course, is the color of the communists and the color of communist China. Let's not forget that China is communist, run by the Chi-Coms. Alright? Don't forget that. Here she is with these red ribbons going, ah! I'm sorry, that is so unsophisticated. Alright, this next story is from the Washington Examiner too. A little report about our president, who is marking, or I guess yesterday the president marked Obamacare's anniversary with last call for enrollment. President Obama on Sunday, and of course this is Sunday on Monday. And by the way, let me just make a station ID. My name's Daniel Gray. I'm the Trailer Park Prophet, and I'm broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Crestone, Colorado on Blog Talk Radio. This is Sunday on Monday. I actually have several stories, like I generally do, about what the press was talking about on the big Sunday news programs. Alright, so I should do an advertisement. If you or anyone you know who is male and is considering maybe going to a foreign land and would like to meet some safe female units, some female units that aren't involved with the prostitution industry, you can do so by going to the Trailer Park Prophet Love Connection. Yep, that's right. Trailer Park Prophet Love Connection. Oh, we got some music here. I got some more videos, but we're back to the music. Oh, that's so relaxing. So again, if you're a male, or if you know a male who has had trouble maybe meeting women, or might be traveling abroad and would like to meet some nice young lady to show him around her country, just go to the Trailer Park Prophet Love Connection and you can see profiles on over 20,000 women all across the globe. South America, Europe, Russia, Indonesia, China. Just check it out. Trailer Park Prophet Love Connection. Give yourself or someone else the gift of trailer park love. All right, back to the Washington Examiner article about our president marking the anniversary of Obamacare. President on Sunday hailed the 4th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act and said it was now last call for consumers to sign up for the 2014 coverage. Our President Barack Hussein Obama said, if you're an American who wants to get covered, or if you know someone who should, it's now last call for 2014, said Obama in a statement. The president touted the law's benefits and said it had kept healthcare costs down while boosting coverage. What a crock of BS. That's a total lie. We have less people now with health insurance than we did before Obamacare. And all indications are that healthcare costs are continuing to climb. Remember, the president said that everyone was going to get a $2,500 reduction in their health care cost premiums, and that didn't happen. The president went on to say, since I signed the Affordable Care Act into law, the share of Americans with insurance is up, and the growth of health care cost is down to its slowest rate in 50 years. Two of the most promising developments of our middle class and our fiscal future is a long time, said Obama. Well, I think, Mr. President, your poll numbers suggest that most of the people out there would categorically disagree with your last statement. Moving on. This is, again, Mr. President. More Americans with insurance have gained new benefits and protection. The 100 million Americans who gained the right to free preventative care like mammograms and contraception, the 8 million seniors who have saved thousands of dollars on their prescription drugs, and the untold number of families who won't be driven into bankruptcy by out-of-pocket costs, because this law prevents insurers from placing dollar limits on care you can receive, he added. Now, if you're listening to the Trailer Park Prophet, you know that we have gone to great lengths to prove what the president just said is absolutely false. And the real test, again, is that the Obamacare popularity among Hispanics and in other polls is dropping, as is the president's popularity. His popularity is falling. But man, I mean, they don't even know how many people have signed up. There's only, by their own accounting, less than 6 million people have signed up for Obamacare. So how can it be that more Americans have insurance, have gained new benefits and protections? None of the provisions of Obamacare have kicked in. The 100 million Americans who've gained the right to free preventative care like mammograms and contraception. So you see the word right. Talk about an interesting sentence structure. So they may have gained the right, but if they can't fulfill that right, it's not really a right. It's just another one of those Obama promises. But I found this really interesting that the speech writers for Obama now are talking about esoteric things like rights. I mean, they might have a right to preventative care, mammograms, and contraceptions, but if they can't see that right delivered, there's no right. All right, I'm going to leave that paragraph alone. It's completely fraught with inaccuracies. But the president goes on to say, more Americans without insurance have gained coverage over the last 4 years. Over 3 million young Americans have been able to stay on their family plan, said the president. Okay, all right. We know that. But but what about the other numbers besides the 4 million that were able to stay on their parents' plan? Most of the increases of people that are on insurance are people that got onto Medicaid. You know, and if he was being a real steward of the truth and a servant of the American people, he would line out for us the basic statistics, like how many people have increased in their enrollment in Medicaid, how many people have increased their enrollment in one of the state plans. I mean, God, I mean, this is so weak on fact and more on just emotion. Obama also touted the 5 million consumers who have signed up since the launch of healthcare.gov in October. Well, we know that number was only 1 million. The enrollment drive, though, will likely fall short of the administration's 7 million target, and numbers show that the share of young, healthy consumers needed to keep costs down is only 25% below the 40% initial goal. God, I mean, really, you've had 4 years to implement this plan, and you can only get 7 million people to sign up? I mean, that's laughable. Critics say that the problems with healthcare.gov and the multiple delays are proof Obama's signature domestic achievement was never ready for prime time. Republican lawmakers are voting to press ahead with efforts to block the law and question if Obamacare was actually increase the number of Americans with insurance. And we're going to finish up here. Obama said that this is what's at stake anytime anyone out of some outdated obsession pledges to repeal or undermine the Affordable Care Act, said Obama. Quote, and that's why my administration will spend the 5th year of this law and beyond working to implement and improve it. So there you go. Don't get rid of it, improve it. I mean, you can't fix a bill that has over 2,500 pages to it and tens of thousands of rules promulgated by bureaucrats. You can't. That system is not fixable. I'm sorry to say. All right, we got a little video here from CBS News on their Meet the Press program. Alright, computer. And basically, Mitt Romney said on CBS News that President Obama has been naive in his dealings with Russia about the Ukraine, is basically the crux of the story. Alright, let me shut down the music here and we'll go to this video with Mitt Romney. Alright, I got stuff going on all over the place here. Maybe this would be a good time. Oh, I don't even know where my Blog Talk Radio studio's at. Oh, alright. Excuse me. Excuse me. Alright, here we go. Again, CBS News, Mitt Romney was on their Sunday talk program yesterday talking about the Obama administration and their naivety on Russia. This would, let's see, when was this? March 23rd, yep, yesterday. And remember, Mitt Romney was the former Massachusetts governor. and the 2012 Republican presidential nominee. All right, Mitt, I think you've been on the Trailer Park Prophet Show before, and we're certainly glad you found time to be here. All right, this isn't going to post. I can't get the video to. What? Let's see. What do videos do? They don't post. They do something. I know you. Some of you are out there yelling at the old prophet. It's called. All right. Maybe I'll just leave this sit here, and we'll move on to the next story. And if we're interrupted by this video, finally. Oh my God, this is really a good story. Maybe I'll just kill that Romney story. I'm going to kill the Romney story because this story is a little more interesting. So in case you don't know, Romney was on the talk show CBS, and he just said that Obama was really naive about Russia. Shit, I guess that's no big surprise. All right, again, this is from Best of Herman Cain. And we have a video of Jimmy Carter, who is claiming that he's pretty sure that the government has been spying on him. That's President Jimmy Carter. All right, take it away, President Carter. He was on NBC's Meet the Press yesterday. It's 1 minute long. Hi, Jimmy. President Jimmy Carter used to be considered the worst president in the history of the United States. All right, we're going to probably have a little ad here so Herman can make some money. We want Herman Cain to make some money. And we already did one Herman Cain. I love you. Special K. I want you guys to buy. Here we go. Let's start over. I want to start over on this video. This is, oh God, I can't, let me stop here. Shut up. God, what is her name? The person that's interviewing former President Jimmy Carter. Oh my God, I know you'd recognize her. She's a blonde, has pitted out acne face. I'm sorry, I can't care. Oh, what's her name? I'm looking for her name. It just escapes my organic computer right now. Leslie Stalls. That's her name. Finally popped up on my organic computer screen in me brain. All right, Leslie Stalls is the host of NBC's Meet the Press, and she's interviewing President Jimmy Carter yesterday. And, okay, the first question Leslie asked Jimmy Carter is whether or not President Barack Obama calls on Jimmy Carter from time to time for advice. Okay, so here is Jimmy Carter's response.
And even on race, I used to call on us to go into sensitive areas. When the United States didn't have relationships with kind of unsavory characters, so that as me, as a private citizen, to do so. Why do you think you don't have that relationship with Barack Obama? That's a hard question for me to answer, with complete candor. I think the problem was that in dealing with the issue of peace in Israel and Egypt, the Carter Center has taken a very strong Republican position of equal treatment between the Palestinians and Israel. I think this is a sensitive area in which the President wants to be involved. When he first came out with his speech in Cairo, calling for the end of all settlement, and then later said that the 67 borders were there, he and I were looking at it from the same perspective. But I can understand those specific things.
Oh my God, is he done? Hold on a second here, boys and girls. I gotta turn up the background music and cool off my computer. This is truly citizen journalism. Uh-oh. That's not good. Come on. Alright, I'm back. I'm worried that my computer's going to overheat, so I have a little bowl of ice with a fan blowing over it. It's an old PC, and I think I'm keeping it going. You know, a few times it has shut down, and that's always not good. So anyway, we're listening to Jimmy Carter, that little take. He's talking to Leslie Stalls, and it's kind of remarkable that a Democratic president wouldn't rely on someone like Jimmy Carter, you know, with his experience and expertise. And yet other Republican presidents got a hold of Jimmy Carter, and they wanted his take on things. They showed him respect. I mean, it's almost like Obama isn't showing Jimmy Carter any respect. It's very profound and rather interesting. And I don't know if we got cut. I guess we actually did get cut off when Jimmy said that he was being spied on by the Obama administration. I don't know what happened to that. We'll get to the language here. Let's see. It says here that if the NSA is reading your emails to your buddies about where you're going to meet up and play pool tonight, I'd say that's pointless and a violation of your rights. If the NSA is reading Jimmy Carter's emails to pals like Nicholas Maduro or Mohammed Abbas, I'd say this is what digital surveillance is all about, bunkie. Man, that's a one hell of an accusation. Let me see if I can actually find the Carter quote here. Well, the quote is, Jimmy Carter is pretty sure that the government is spying on him. That's a hell of an admission. Because you know Jimmy Carter knows by saying something like that critical of the Obama administration that he's doing damage to some of the Obama and Democratic base. That was a very damaging thing for President Carter to say. I don't actually see the pull quote. And damn, I want to hear that video again. I'm sorry, it all of a sudden just kicked off. And I'm looking for the actual quotes, but I can't find those quotes. Alright, well, anyways, let's don't belabor the point. Dig myself an even bigger hole. Alright, this next story I found in the New York Post. Pretty weird story, even if I do say so myself. Article here by Matt Young. He says here in his article posted today that Ed Hoban isn't your typical father. He's anything but. In fact, the Dutchman, 44 years old, is known for being the most fertile man in Europe and quite possibly the world. Why, would you ask, is Holden? Or why has Holden fathered a whopping 98 children in the span of 12 years? It all started in 2020 when he donated his sperm through a local fraternity, that's funny, Prophet, a local fertility clinic in the Netherlands. Fast forward 12 years where he now spreads his seed in a more traditional sense by offering a free service to have sex with women and couples who want to have a baby. What motivates me, this is a quote, what motivates this guy is meeting new people who turn out to be great, normal people, and there's some beautiful hope of creating a new life which will be loved and looked after, he told the BBC. Of course, this Holden guy has a website, and it connects to couples, lesbians and heterosexuals who have problems with fertility. Maybe they had trouble with with a fraternity or two. And let's see. The sperm donor says, I have met many children from right after birth, and I've been present at 2 births. It was fantastic. Holden goes on to say, as the children grow up, they'll develop their own relationship with me or not, but he'll know where they come from, and now it's mostly the initiative of the parents to visit me twice a year, for example. This Holden says he has a 80% success rate. He says, I don't fire any blanks. And you can read the rest of the story. Let me end with this. This Holden guy, this sperm donor, says, I try to keep my emotions out of it as much as possible. You have to find a balance between having these feelings of being so many times a father, but also that it's no use clamoring for that because that's not what you promised the parents. Ah, yes, sir. The Trailer Park Prophet, bringing you stories of every variety and subject. Okay, this is kind of funny. This is from Summy Cards. It says here, liberalism is a simple concept. If you have it, I want it. If you do it, I'll control it. And if I don't get my way about everything, I'll whine like a 5-year-old. I like Margaret Thatcher's definition of socialism. Socialism works until you run out of other people's money. I believe that is a little more accurate. Oh, okay, this is kind of an interesting story about Matt Drudge. Matt Drudge has a very simple website where he is sort of a depository of articles that are written by any number of news outlets and or blogs. And here recently, Matt Drudge came out and stated that he's going to have to come up with some Obamacare penalty money. And the liberal media has just jumped out of their skins, turned themselves inside out, saying that Matt Drudge is lying about a tweet he made about having to pay part of the penalty for not having insurance. Remember, we've talked about that, the individual mandate. You either have to have insurance or you have to pay the penalty. Well, remember that portion and 30 other portions of Obamacare have been delayed into the future. But Matt Drudge is an independent contractor. So as an independent contractor, he has to file his income tax quarterly. And independent contractors are not exempted from this provision of Obamacare until 2015. They have to pay they either have to have health insurance or they're going to have to pay the penalty in fiscal year 2013, the one now that they're filing in 2014. Actually, it's a little convoluted. I actually got a little out of sequence, but basically, just remember what I said earlier. So Matt Drudge tweeted recently, just paid the Obamacare penalty for not getting covered. I'm calling it a liberty tax. All right, now this story here is out of the Huffington Post, and here's Jesse Lee replying to Matt Drudge. Says, "Flat lie, no fee for previous year. Scary how much influence he once had at RT. Drudge just paid Obamacare penalty for not getting covered." All right. Says here, briefly, here's how the individual mandate works. But see, the individual mandate doesn't apply to people that are independent contractors. And what's funny is the lamestream media, they have no idea what's in the Obamacare law. They just figure since Matt Drudge is a conservative that whatever he says is a lie. And Matt Drudge even put the link to the IRS law that still subjects the independent contractors to the Obamacare mandate, meaning they either have to have insurance or they have to pay the penalty. And still, the so-called reporters at Drudge and other mainstream, lamestream media outlets refuse to take yes for an answer. They refuse to take the word of the IRS. It's unbelievable. For 2014, the minimum penalty for an individual is $95 or 1% of your taxable income minus the first $10,150, whichever is higher. The penalty is capped at $3,600 for a single person this year, according to an estimate from the Tax Policy Center at the Brookings Institute. Families pay more depending on the number of people in the household, but the penalty is bigger in the future years. Of course, Drudge doesn't think the cost of the mandate penalty is any more real than the President Obama's birth certificate. See, they had to throw that in there. And Matt Drudge went on to say, he said, "I've opted out of the Obamacare for life, not interested. Pay the tax, monopoly money anyway." So here's a question now that it says, so is Drudge lying, as Lee asserted? Maybe there does, however, appear to be one possible explanation that would make Drudge's statement truthful and a bet still curious. If Drudge pays estimated income tax every quarter, a common practice for someone who is self-employed or is a sole proprietor of a business, he could have guesstimated what his penalty will be and added the amount to the check he apparently cut to the IRS on Friday, which is what he'd have to do. But he's being roundly discredited as misrepresenting his statutorial mandate to pay for Obamacare insurance and or pay the fine. So this story is just developing, and we'll find out more about this in the future, but it's just interesting that this is what we're talking about. You know, this is what's in the news. Everyone and their problems with Obamacare, you know, that is going to be the subject of newscasts now until 2016 and beyond. It's going to be in the news that people of every stripe are having trouble with complying with Obamacare or receiving the so-called rights to health care benefits that our president so gallantly promised each and every one of us. Okay, this is kind of a big story. This could be a harbinger of things to come. If I was a Democratic operative, I would look at this story and say to myself, oh my God. All right, this story is from the teaparty.org. Article here written by, I don't see a name. This was published on the 21st of March. And I'm surprised. This should be a really big story. But Breitbart broke this first. Says a Tea Party candidate became the first ever state senator in Pennsylvania to win as a write-in candidate on Tuesday in a special election that showed how dissatisfied voters are, even at the local level, with both organized political parties. During the campaign, conservative Republican Scott Wagner was blistered by establishment Republicans that he accused of, quote, orchestrating the special election in such a way to hand the seat vacated by Mike Vaughn in January to the establishment Republican Ron Miller. Now, according to the Patriot News, Wagner captured 48% of the vote in York County, while Democrat Linda Small got 26%. That's an ass whooping. And establishment Republican Ron Miller, 27%. So he literally beat out two candidates. I'm telling you, man, that's a big deal. That is the definition in politics of an ass whooping. If you're in a three-way vote and you beat two candidates by these numbers, that's amazing. On a write-in vote, Wagner will immediately serve as a state senator representing District 28 through November 30th, allowing Republicans to maintain their 27 to 23 majority in the chamber. I didn't even know they had a majority. The seat is up for re-election or election for a 4-year term later on this year. We have a video. You want to listen to it? I'm good, but I'm telling you, that's a big deal. I mean, just to win a write-in vote in a state election like this, or even a county election, or any election, to win a write-in vote is amazing. Generally, the only people that win write-in votes is like when you have one person who died, and so they had to put up another candidate. You know, like, let's say, as an example, let's say the Democratic candidate died for a county seat, so the county party would throw up another candidate and ask the Democratic Party to vote write-in, because there weren't enough time to change the ballots. I mean, even that's rare. But in this instant, where you have three candidates and a write-in guy wins, that's phenomenal. I can't ever remember that ever happening. I mean, this could be one of the biggest political upsets in the history of political upsets. I mean, that's just unbelievable, my fellow lovers of liberty. All right, I got a really cool quote here from Ayn Rand. Observe in this context the intellectual precision of the founding fathers. They spoke of the right to the pursuit of happiness, not of the right to happiness. It means that a man has the right to take the actions he deems necessary to achieve his happiness. It does not mean that others must make him happy. Amen, Ayn Rand. Oh, okay. This is good. This is a good story. Let me check on time. Where are we? Oh, we're doing good. Okay, I really wanted to do this story. This is a story about a woman who is a professor of pornography. And the headline is, Professor of Porn Scholar Assaults Teen Over Anti-Abortion Signs. And this is on YouTube. Let's see if we can get it to play. Oh my God. A professor of porn.
A solution that helps cure dog
dog bad breath. Oh my God.
Feminist and porn scholar. She's a feminist, a professor and a porn scholar. Self-proclaimed porn scholar.
Alright, I gotta stop here. I didn't realize who this was. This is the Doctor of Common Sense. And we have the honor of hosting the Doctor of Common Sense here on the Trailer Park Prophet. So, what do you say? Let's take on some common sense.
Assault to teenage girls. I don't know. This is what they're teaching at the university. Evidently, I'm your host, the doctor of common sense, E.T. Williams. Please visit the website at www.whateverhappenedtocommonsense.com. I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but this is breaking news. They've been talking about it for a little while, but you didn't get my spin on it yet. So, a pregnant sex professor who is a self-proclaimed porn scholar, she's also she teaches feminist studies at the University of California down in Santa Barbara. Yeah, she's a feminist, she teaches feminist studies. She's also a porn scholar. Now, I got to talk about this. First of all, did I say she was pregnant? Now, I don't know how she got pregnant because I thought feminists supposed to hate men. I thought she didn't supposed to have disdain for men. Now, who got you knocked up, girl? Did they artificially inject it in you, but you still needed a man? Now, only way you're going to get pregnant, I keep telling you people, ain't but one way to get pregnant, male and female. Whether you do it artificially or whether you do it naturally. Only one way to do it. She may have did it not naturally since she is a porn scholar. I don't think I've ever seen a porn scholar. I'm just telling you. I don't know what kind of school they got down there at the University of California at Santa Barbara. But you really have somebody down there teaching how to be a porn scholar? What's her qualifications? How many times you laid on your back? She probably had to do an extensive research in order to become a porn scholar. How many men did you sleep with? I think they said she slept with 25,000 men in order to get her porn scholarship. That's my interpretation of it. I'm just saying, she is a self-proclaimed feminist. She teaches feminist studies and she is a porn scholar. She assaulted two 16-year-old girls because they were outside with anti-abortion signs, protesting the graphicness and the barbarianism of abortion. She got upset. Her and two of her students snatched the sign from the 16-year-old girls. They said she was scratched. She actually scratched them. That's not very feminist of you, are it? Is it? I can understand these two little boys was out there with some signs holding up these graphic signs on what abortion is about. But these are two little girls. I'm just saying, I would think you would be more loving and tolerant of two little girls, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, this is scandalous. We got a lot of issues going on here. I'm just saying, no, there's a lot of issues going on with this story. You're not seeing it. You're not seeing what's going on. Now, first of all, the professor, who happens to be a self-proclaimed feminist, and she teaches feminist studies, talking about a made-up freaking degree. She's also a porn scholar, sex professor, and porn scholar. Feminist studies is what she teaches down at the university, and she's pregnant. Then she assaulted two little young girls because they were out there with signs talking about the barbarism of the whole abortion thing. Yes. Now let's look at this. She said that she called the little girl terrorist for holding signs. Now the doctors who are performing these surgeries are yanking babies out, stabbing them in their head with scissors, sucking the brain out. I want to get real graphic, and I want you to get that image. The pictures are insulting to the porn scholar professor of the feminist study at the University of California in Santa Barbara. These pictures and images are too graphic, and they're almost, you're nothing but a terrorist, is what she told the young girl. Snatched the sign, scratched her. They're terrorists for holding signs. She's not terrorist for assaulting some minors, because they was holding signs reminding the damn freaking idiot liberals how bad abortion is. Now get this. They can't stand to look at the pictures because they say they're too graphic. What about the scene itself? When the doctor, I want to get this image of doctors. You remember Goosenell, right? He had that death clinic down there just killing babies, literally just yanking their bodies out.
stabbing them, cutting up biblical cards, treating them like they were nothing but trash. I find it laughable how these so-called feminists, all these pro-abortion folks, the Wendy Davis type, you know, they always don't want to see the images of how gruesome abortion is, but they always advocating that it's a woman's health choice. You should be looking at, they should be studying. I mean, they should have a book like this and let me just study how beautiful abortion is because you snatch the baby out. Oh, that's a great image. They should just love the scenery of abortion since they said it's so beautiful. Melissa Harris Perry, we should just show her regular pictures of what abortion is since she has this and she gets ready to these things and these things. I think she looked like the good professor, Miss Marina Miller Young, looked like she may be hanging out with Melissa Harris Perry. But she was upset. She said, give me that damn sign. Scratch good. It was laughing at her. She walking like Dick Bucket.
That's assault and battery.
Look at the scene of this. Here's a professor at the University of California at Santa Barbara who's teaching feminist studies. She's also a poem scholar. They didn't even give her credentials on what it takes to become a poem scholar. I think you may have to do some extensive on-hand training. I don't think just looking at videos is going to be good enough. The way the professor acted, I bet you she was down there at the university talking about extensive research on being her poem scholarship. She may have understudies or some, I don't know. Some of these little girls that she was walking, maybe involved in helping her with her undergraduate studies. I'm just saying. Anyway, she also specialized in race, gender, and sexuality in visual culture and sex industries in the United States. This is absolutely outrageous. You send your kids, you better be watching you send your kids to some of these damn higher learning educational places. They got this woman who probably ain't qualified to be a damn dishwasher. This heifer down there snatching signs, scratching people because she don't want them having their right to express themselves. And also she's reminding of her of how gruesome abortion really is. But what about the real images themselves? If the picture is so gruesome that it makes you cringe, imagine being there when somebody yanking the baby out of the mother's womb, stabbing them in their head with scissors, sucking the brain out, and just laying it on the slab like it's a piece of meat. Since you think the pictures are so gruesome, I want to paint a picture of how gruesome abortion is. But the professor, the professor who is a poem scholar, she is also pregnant, and she teaches feminist studies. She also specializes. Now, she's just not a regular professor. She specializes in race, gender, and sexuality in visual culture and sex industries in the United States. Oh, Lord have mercy. What have we come to when we got these made-up degrees? I'm about to give me a PhD too. Yeah, I am a professor, and I have a PhD in damn common sense. And guess what? I just identified a freaking idiot. This professor named Miss Young. Can I call you Young, Miss Young? Anyway, she was down there assaulting some teenagers because the teenagers had signs. She didn't want these signs out there. No, give me that damn sign. And we holding these signs, this gruesome image. You ain't nothing but a damn terrorist. Intimidating 16-year-old girls. And was laughing about walking with a power walk, too. And he said, well, boy, you don't want none of this, she said, the professor. You don't want to mess with the professor. She's highly educated. She's highly educated. You can just see the smirk on her face. She has a PhD. Is associate professor of the feminist studies at the University of California in Santa Barbara. Her research explores race, gender, and sexuality in the visual culture and sex industries in the United States. You can't tell she's smart, highly educated. You just don't understand. She also talked about a little of her previous interview. She described herself as a porn scholar when discussing her manuscript called A Taste for Brown Sugar. Other words, she may have a little video footage of her taste for brown sugar when she got her PhD. She says she had a manuscript called A Taste for Brown Sugar, Black Women, Sex Work, and Pornography. The university teacher says, now you gonna stand out here and hold these damn signs. I'm gonna yank the sign for you, scratch you, call you a terrorist because I'm smarter than you. I am a professor of feminist studies. I also have extensive backgrounds in pornography. That's what she said. Don't even try to challenge the professor. You're not smart enough. You must go look at the manuscript of A Taste for Brown Sugar. No. She said, you get off these campuses, you little girl. You don't know what you're messing with. The feminist group from the professor. Yeah, that's right. You see no image of an abortion. That's just too bad. Making us reminders of how gruesome abortion really is. Welcome to the University of California, Santa Barbara. Oh, yes.
All right, hey, thanks a lot there, Doctor of Common Sense, talking about abortion and talking about let's be real. And I've brought this up before. Why don't schools take kids on a field trip of abortion clinics? In my mind, that's a no-brainer. And it's odd that professor of pornography was into also the visual arts. And I tried to do the same thing that the Doctor of Common Sense has done and tried to breach the question, why don't we see the abortion? Let's see the abortion. The scene of the crime, if it were. But I definitely like the Doctor of Common Sense. He made a lot of really good points. And, you know, the whole idea of actually having a course of pornography, is that education? Is that tax dollars, hard-earned money, well spent? Alright, what else do I want to say about that? I think that's probably it. It's just frustrating. I know it's frustrating for you too. But I like the Doctor of Common Sense because he puts it in a way that I think more people can understand it. And it makes me feel like there's a foundation in my feelings on abortion. And I've spoke before that I think that abortion is the #1 issue for the progressive socialist status, because if you can control that high a level of morality in people, then you can control them or convince them of other moral atrocities. Because the biggest moral atrocity is killing babies in the womb. So that makes eugenics, that makes a genocide of blacks by Planned Parenthood more palatable, acceptable. You know, in capitalism, you try to work to the top, whereas in progressive socialism, you work from the bottom. And by that I mean the bottom, meaning the lowest actual moral being, the lowest possible individual without morality. And that's what the abortion movement is all about, starting at the lowest human moral factor. That's what I see. Because I don't see any morality in killing a baby in the womb. And yet the progressive socialists start at the bottom. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking this. I'm just amazed. I'm just totally amazed where we've been in this country and where we are now. It's simply amazing. And some dare call it a conspiracy, and it's just amazing how that within 50 years you can completely turn a country around 180 degrees. Morally, ideologically, economically, it's amazing. 50 years. Complete reversal on morality, on personal responsibility, on rule of law. We've turned from a country that John Kennedy used to say, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, to Obamacare world where people are looking to the government plantation for a handout. Alright, moving on. I'm getting depressed. I only have a few more stories left to do. Actually, 3 more stories, and then we'll just get out of here. All of a sudden, I'm depressed. Alright, this is a story. Does the Muslim Brotherhood, asking a question, does the Muslim Brotherhood have operatives working in America? There's an article here on my Facebook page, and you can go and look it up yourself. It's from ACT, ACT for America. And I don't know if we have time to get into it. We've actually done this story. This lady who actually does this particular article, she is a former Islamist, and she's a reporter, and this is her organization, Act for America, and her and other people have said over and over and over again that yes, there are Muslim Brotherhood staff people in the White House. So that's the story. And then I don't know why I find this story so interesting. We reported that the super racist pastor Fred Phelps had died. And here's an article from religiousblogs.cnn. Says, should we celebrate Fred Phelps' death? Article here by Jessica Ravutz. CNN, he was a preacher best known for the virulent anti-gay rhetoric, the force behind placards that read, God hates fags. He taught that natural disasters are man-made and are a result of also a punishing God. And I wrote here, I said, well, most Muslims hate fags also. So why is this nut job, Fred Phelps, get so much turbocharged drive-by media attention? And the answer is because Fred Phelps was a Christian. That's exactly why. And I asked my readers on my Facebook page, I said, are you starting to see the connection between the progressive socialist statist movement and the radical Islamist movement? They are in bed together. But, you know, as far as the actual question there, I mean, should we celebrate the death of Fred Phelps? And the answer is clearly no. You know, this man is a sick individual. Fred Phelps is a sick man. And the left has used him as their example of what all Christians are like. And that's what the Christians should be talking about. Fred Phelps is an animal. And then the other question of if you know, the liberal media pays no attention to the tenets of Islam that say that you're to kill, hang, homosexuals. This is kind of interesting here, a little saying. Never push a loyal person to the point where they no longer care. Never push a loyal person to the point where they no longer care. And what I get from this quote is that someone who is loyal to a ideology or a country or a car or a program or an individual, fill in the blank, if you push them and push them where they no longer care, then they're going to react. They're going to react to being pushed. And as a loyal person, they may very well react in a manner that is not very attractive to the receiver of that behavior. That's how I see that. And I also thought of it as in terms of currently in our lives. And I feel like the progressive socialist status are pushing us, liberty-loving Americans, and we are loyal to that Constitution. We are loyal to equal rights for everyone. And if we're continually pushed into the future by the bullies, the progressive socialist status, eventually we will get to the point where we don't care. Meaning we no longer care about the consequences of pushing against the hegemony that is the progressive socialist status movement. And maybe that is when we'll start going door to door and talking to our neighbors and start acting locally and saying, look, we've had enough of the PC experiment. We want to get back to basics.
90 seconds.
Okay, we only have 90 seconds left. I got a quote here from President Kennedy. Says there's a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot. President JFK was killed 7 days before his assassination. Let's see here. Special honor to the Navajo Talkers. And one thing I want to remind each and every one of you of is never, 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 my fellow lovers of liberty, do I want to see you trying to roller skate in a buffalo herd. Alright? I want you to promise me. Okay, we got Wednesday coming up, Hump Day with the Prophet. I'll do this story on the Navajo Talkers. I'm sorry we don't have enough time for that. And remember, keep it classy out there. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks a lot for being here. You know who loves you.
10 seconds.
Alright, see you guys on YouTube. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.